Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the reading, your Tarot and Oracle card reading for the week of July 5th, 2021. Sorry, my throat has been dry like all day, so I've got a little steaming cup of tea here that I'm gonna take some sips of occasionally. So awesome. Let me see. Let me put this over here. Okay. So again, and as always, I have changed up my format a little bit so that I can be a little more efficient time-wise with the reading. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and shuffled the cards. What has come out this week: Daughter of Pentacles, which is also Page of Pentacles; the Daughter of Wands, which is also the Page of Wands; the Five of Swords; the Mother of Cups, which is also the Queen of Cups; the Father of Wands, which is also the King of Wands; and at the bottom of the deck we have the Eight of Wands. Just set that there. So the overall reading, theme of the reading, I pulled the Black Power Tarot again for the overall theme, and it is structure again. This is Howlin' Wolf, and you'll actually recognize, I believe there is a theme from last week that is continuing this week, because the same cards have shown up also in the reading. And this is with a different tarot deck as far as the rest of the cards go. So let's get into this. So this week I sense is again a continuation of last week's overall theme. There is a new structure that is coming into being. I sense it as a spiritual leveling up. The pages, and I'll go ahead and put these up so you can see them as I'm talking about them. The pages were the messengers last week, now making another appearance to remind us where we left off. And the Emperor is again the overall theme. If you accepted the adventure and the full support from last week's energy, there is an abruptness to the change in the energy approaching. So let's get into the real key of this reading. If you want to refer back to last week's, you can look at that for the previous message. But the key to this reading, I think, is going to be in this Five of Swords. Kim Kranz's deck shows the Five of Swords. With the Five of Swords has 5 swords in the card, and the largest of the swords is cutting an earthworm in half. In the spiritual realm, earthworms are often show us how we can be how we can be without having like a sense of smell or hearing or touch or solid form. We're kind of just relying really on feeling our way with vibrations through the darkness of the earth. And so I thought about, when do we actually see earthworms in our waking lives? I always see them during and after warm summer storms. I imagine from doing some research, but please don't quote me because I'm not a scientist. I was going to say scientist. What? Earthworms sense the vibration of the rain on the earth and know that it is time to surface and move. It is this dance of understanding between the rain and the rain or air, which air signs are represented by the swords, and the earth, which is the earthworm in this card. But it comes with a message, right? It is no longer necessary to live in a loop of sensing your way through darkness and misunderstanding. and waiting for the rain or like some sort of outside message to tell you when it's safe to surface. It's time now to stop that loop. The cutting of the earthworm is showing us that structure is now necessary. We move from the youthfulness of the pages to the maturity of the Queen of Cups, right? And the King of Wands. We must stop believing that we're not ready. It is time to mature. And it's funny because I recently had a conversation with a teacher friend about the 8 stages of development by Erik Erikson, and finding out from her that, well, not just finding out, but really kind of validating this thought that I was having in my own head about how our development continues into adulthood through those same stages. So, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor or psychologist. This reading does not replace the advice of a legal professional or a medical doctor. I'm just someone who is interested in mind, body, and spiritual connection and how that connection guides us. And saying that, this reading, yes, is entertainment. Please don't take it, beyond what it is. So with that said, Erik Erikson's stage 6 is where he begins to identify maturity. So when someone is in stage 6, someone is age 18 to 40, and they have this experience that leads them to choose to develop intimate relationships or to find themselves in isolation. Stage 7 is from the ages of 40 to 65, and that is where we are having experiences of generativity, where we're kind of leaving a legacy, or stagnation. Stage 8 is ego integrity versus despair, and that is the age of 65 and above. So while Erikson's stages are connected to age groups, I sense here a maturation on a spiritual level, something not in books or in regular waking day-to-day practice. This is something mystical. So let's look at the Mother of Cups, Queen of Cups. This maturation, right, this spiritual maturation, seems to be a stage that is feminine in nature. The Queen of Cups is a compassionate healer, able to hold the space for all emotions, good and bad. She is often connected to the High Priestess. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink of tea here. Dry throat. And actually, I do have to apologize for the reading being late. I had to kind of wait until fireworks kind of died down, even though they're illegal in my state. That didn't stop the neighbors from doing very, very loud and very illegal fireworks. But I digress. So back to the Mother of Cups, whenever I see the Mother of Cups, I very often think of the nature of a therapist when I see her. And of course, it depends on the surrounding cards and circumstances of the question. But in this reading, this collective energy reading, I asked myself, what does it take for a therapist to be able to hold space for others and for herself? It takes deep compassion. It takes a release of judgment and a respect for emotional expression, which is also great for acting, by the way. When this backfires on the Queen of Cups, though, she can be very defensive, highly judgmental, and she can play the victim really well. The Five of Swords here is actually, and I'll go back to the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords here is actually 2 paths. It's a call to maturity, and it's also a coming out of a despairing loop of blind creation in the darkness. But if we don't come out of that loop, the defensive nature of this Queen of Cups will be the result. This is what I call the Death Mother. Now, there is a difference when you're talking about the feminine nature of there's the Dark Mother and then there's the Death Mother. The Dark Mother comes to encourage us and bring forth, and the Dark Mother actually kind of reminds me of a therapist as well, because the Dark Mother brings these really off-the-wall situations and kind of says, what will you bring to this situation? What will you bring to, what is your understanding? What strength? The Dark Mother comes forth to bring the strength of the shadow forward in you into light. And the Death Mother is the one that sees you in this troublesome place and makes you a victim, right? So that's where this Mother of Cups again comes in. You can either have this feminine energy, this Dark Mother, right? There's the Dark Mother and the Death Mother. The Death Mother is the one that shuts you down. She's judgmental. She has you creating yourself as a victim. Are you a victim? How do you not be a victim, right? This is where we really rely on our strength and on our ability to bring ourselves into new light through darkness. So, and I hesitate to say that the Five of Swords is a release from darkness as someone who knows the value of darkness and of shadow. But if we stay too long in the darkness, walking backwards into the past, that's when we start bringing forward the Death Mother. And we start, how do I say it? We start misusing the energy of the Dark Mother, the energy of the darkness. And when we continually look in the past, we're only walking further into unusable darkness. So again, there's this need to come out of that loop of unnecessary darkness where you can't see and you can't, and obviously you can. Obviously you can become this Mother of Cups. You can feel, you can hold space, you can, do all these things. Okay, but again, there it is. This reminder that we need to release from a loop of negative thoughts, ideas, and patterns that no longer serve us by the hand, right, of the divine feminine, divine wisdom, harmony, completion, healing. And I'll share this. So some years ago, I had a life-changing surgery. It allowed me to change in certain ways, right? Because, it was completely unexpected. And I really do feel it was one of those times where the Dark Mother introduced herself and said, I want to give you this darkness. This is a gift, right? And in the years after my surgery, I slowly, I kept telling the story of the surgery. And I kept, because for me it was, oh, this is a story. And then for other people it was like, whoa, I can't believe that. I can't believe you went through that. I can't. And so it became my thing, right? But I slowly started realizing that my telling the story of that surgery was keeping me in a loop. Other people were seeing it as something traumatic, whereas I was just like, oh, it was just a thing that happened. But it was the only thing that I could tell people that I felt like maybe they could relate to. And I kept asking myself, when am I going to move forward out of this story? Who would I be if I did not have this story? And then one day, I just decided, I'd actually completely forgotten about it. But each year I'd kind of, just kind of memorialized it by saying, oh, it's my anniversary of my surgery. And in the years after the surgery, I picked up rock climbing and just all this kind of physical expression that I hadn't done before. And that weekend of that particular anniversary, and this was years after, I had forgotten about it. I was on the road to my highest yet multi-pitch rock climbing trip. And multi-pitch means that there are just several climbing routes that are linked together on the rock face to form the journey to the summit, to the top of the climb or the top of the mountain. So the second day we were there on the mountain, that was summit day. And I followed my friend up several routes, finally making it to the last 10 or 15 feet of just, really was like a scramble. It wasn't even rock climbing. It was really just walking up like a couple of rocks to the summit. My friend was at the top waiting for me to basically just make that little walk. But there's a difference between when you're doing a walk on narrow rock and you're, 1 foot off the ground versus 800 feet off of the ground. So at 800 feet on narrow rock, that would have been to me the same as walking on a tightrope. I needed assistance. So I asked my friend to belay me, which is basically just guiding me safely via rope connected to my harness and him connected to an anchor at the summit. So he had me by rope and guided me up. And, as we sat at the top just signing the summit notebook that was kept in the middle box, that's when I remembered, oh, it's my anniversary. And I realized then that I was finally outside of the loop of my story, and I had just done something because I really wanted to do something, not because there was a story behind it. So the King of Wands here popped up as I was just getting to the bottom of the deck in the shuffle, and kind of just flew out. But this is yet again another mature energy. This time, this is someone with no patience. This is someone ready to move forward. And it's easy to believe that this is someone else's energy, but this is the energy we can move into if we accept the helping hand of the Queen of Cups. So if you imagine back to that summit situation of if you were the person, making that last few steps up to the summit, the Queen of Cups is the belayer ready to guide you. And once you get to the top of the mountain, this is the Father of Wands energy once you get there. But again, this is the energy we can move into if we accept the helping hand of the Queen of Cups, if we get out of our heads and into our hearts, so the actions that we take toward ourselves and towards others are from love and a sense of completion. The King of Wands is confident and ready. At the bottom of the deck here is the Eight of Wands. I always initially read the Eight of Wands as blessings coming in from above. The meaning with this reading is a bit different, but still along the same lines. There's an energy of being rescued by the light from above throughout the reading. Some thought or a piece of wisdom this week could be the catalyst for change, or even the catalyst for stability, stabilizing action. We could consider the divine feminine nature in the Queen of Cups. If we consider the divine feminine nature in the Queen of Cups, we could find our saving grace there too, if we are only willing to stop the loop. Stop the loop of negative thoughts. Stop the loop of, an old story that you're telling yourself. And move into this. I really got the sense of this being very close to divine feminine and this Shekinah energy. And hopefully I'll be getting into more of that Shekinah talk later on. Let's go ahead and read the guidance for this week. What are we at? Wow, gone a little bit longer than I meant to. But we have 2 cards for guidance this week. You're falling. We have the Moon, number 37, which adds together to 10, which is also a completion. And we also have the drum, which is in the reverse, the number 15 card. If we add that together, that is the number 6. So let's go ahead and read both of the meanings for both. Okay, quick sip of tea. Okay, the moon. Every 28 days, the moon manifests a steady progression from darkness to light, and then back again. This phenomenon in our skies has powerful impact on our human psyches. It offers us the certainty that after periods of emptiness and darkness, there is a light waiting so that we can be reborn into a new phase. This calls to mind a native African prayer to the moon. May our lives be renewed as yours is. The moon also has a strong influence on the ebb and flow of waters on the earth. This same power, in turn, affects human feelings and emotions and mirrors their rising from or hiding back into the unconscious. The invitation. The moon spends equal time in the dark as it does in the light of the sun. And now it comes to remind you of this balance. Have you been too focused on outer achievements, productivity, or social engagements? Or have you spent too much time hidden from the outer world, not wanting to interact or show your face? Again, there's that loop, right? Meditate on the significance of the moon's cycle and let it gently guide you out of your bottomless depths. Head back to the world of outer expression and connection with others. Let it help you make time for yourself, your feelings, and your essential human and spiritual needs. Yeah, and on top of that, we do have a new moon coming up this week. I'm going to do a separate video for that, the new moon in Cancer, just so you're aware. It's about you and your loved ones being safe. It is about relationships because, it is the sign of Cancer. They're very nurturing and mothery and, emotional. So, but let's go ahead and read the drum here in reverse, number 15. But I did see some resonance there in the moon card with the reading and being basically whatever loop you're in, find your way out of that loop, whatever that loop might be for you. Find yourself a new phase. I mean, we do have a new moon coming up, so this is a great, perfect opportunity to test out getting outside of a loop. All right, so the drum. The essence of the drum card. The rhythm of the drum tunes you to the beating heart of the universe. Its wood frame links you to the trees and helps you journey to the lower world via the roots and the upper world through its branches. The drum skin gives the shaman the powers of the animal kingdom. Striking the drum calls forth the power of the thunder and the rumbling of the earthquake. The drum invites a trance state where healing and prophecy happen. Wow, that's amazing, because I've been needing to do a shamanic journey for quite a while now, so I think I'm ready to do that. I'm going to take the message for that, but let's read the medicine of the card. You travel to the beat of a different drum. It's time to acknowledge you do not fit in a mold or role or relationship that is not in tune with you. Find your rhythm. Respond to the heartbeat of the distant drum. The price you pay for lingering becomes higher with each passing day. Now is the time to move on. Wow. Does that resonate or does that resonate? You tell me. Looking forward to, if you have any comments, looking forward to hearing those. But if you're interested in a reading or if you're interested in doing some guided shadow work, I would love to hear from you. My website is www.fifthroadspirit.com. Thank you so much, and I'll see you for the new moon reading for July 9th. Thanks.